my name is Harriet Davidson. I am an archive assistant here in the Coventry Archives, and today I will be giving you an introduction to researching your family history and how you can use the resources available to illuminate the lives of your family members across the generations. History itself can seem daunting and disconnected from the present, but family history is universal. It is something we all have, and because of that, anyone can do it. It can begin at home, and there are always interesting stories to uncover. The photographs, records, and research experience I will be using in this presentation are my own family history. When starting your family history, the easiest place to begin is with you and then work backwards. Make a note of everything you already know. Birth dates for yourself and any siblings, your parents, grandparents, going back as far as you can. Do the same for any other dates such as marriages and deaths. If there are any family stories, it is worth noting them down too. The photographs I have used here are my grandparents. Reviewing what you know, you will probably find that you form specific questions. These are the questions which will give focus and direction to your research, but it is important to remember that you do not need to tackle everything at once. Picking one person in your tree to research will allow you to find information and get used to researching without getting overwhelmed with the task or the information. Family can be an invaluable source of memories. Research, sometimes other members have already started looking into the family, and photographs and documents. I was very lucky that when I mentioned I had been researching the family, 2 relatives gifted me with a lot of photographs and documents. A lot of information is available online these days, and websites such as Ancestry, Find My Past, and Family Search are very useful for accessing it all in one place. You can subscribe to these websites, which means that you can access the information anytime at home, but that does come with a cost. It is not necessary to subscribe if you would prefer not to, because you can access these websites in local libraries and archives as long as they have a subscription. If you do subscribe to any of them, then you will be able to build an online family tree within which you can save documents to individuals. Instead, you may want to keep your research paper-based. It is important to keep clear records about your research because otherwise it can get rather confused. Depending on what you want to know, what time period you are looking at, and any number of other factors, family history can be a slow and frustrating undertaking, but the rewards are definitely worth it. You can find out the big life events, which include birth, baptism, marriage, death, and burial. In the UK, census records, as we know them, begin in 1841 and continue every 10 years until 1921, which has been recently released via Find My Past. The censuses continue after 1921 and are still being collected today, but due to data protection, they are only available to the public after 100 years have passed from the date they were originally recorded. The exceptions are 1931 and 1941 because of the war, but instead there is the 1939 register, which is a similar record. All of these contain information of where families or individuals were living, their age, occupation, and where they were born. Examples of the 1939 register and 1911 census are on the left. The 1939 register is in the middle and the 1911 at the bottom. By scandal, I mean everything you did not know about a relative, as well as sometimes scandals such as crime and illegitimate children. For example, the top document on the left is a bastardy order from 1840, which establishes a child as being born outside of a marriage, names the father, and charges him childcare fees. The mother of the child is my 3 times great-grandmother. Sometimes, as well as being able to track families, the documents which come to light can answer questions. My family mostly originates from Scotland, Yorkshire, and Northumbria, Cumbria, Durham area. But when I began my family history and found the Durham family line, I was not sure I was on the right track because I could not connect that family with the ones in Yorkshire until I found the 1911 census from Heptonstall on the bottom left. There will always be more questions. Relatives can pop up in unexpected places, records can be missing, and just the gaps between censuses can remain a mystery. But hopefully, with research, a lot of the answers can be found. Through your research, it may be that you find living relations you did not know you had, or you may be searching for a relative and find them. These revelations can be through research and documentary evidence alone, or it can be through making personal connections. As I mentioned before, family trees can be made up on the family history websites, and these can either be kept private or they can be public. Other people's family trees can be a lot of help as well, because they can show other avenues to explore, have documents and photographs that you do not, and you can reach out to the owner and start a conversation which may help your research and sometimes establish that you are in fact related. Although you may have a preference for one particular family history website, it is worth checking details on more than one, because sometimes one website may have documents and information which the other one does not. I found the 1911 census which tied my family history together on Find My Past after not being able to find it on Ancestry. Through the generations, names can be repeatedly used, particularly through the male line, which makes it very important to check names and dates so that they do not get mixed up. Additionally, sometimes there can even be unrelated people in a similar area with similar names, which need to be double-checked carefully before being mistakenly absorbed into your family tree. All the websites included here have worldwide scope, but I would like to address each area separately. If you have Welsh and Irish ancestry, it is possible to search the records on all websites and you can access the transcripts and original documents. Transcripts are a summary of the document. Irish records can be difficult to locate due to there being gaps in the records. Scottish records can also be searched for through Ancestry and Find My Past, but if you want to access the original documents, you will need to visit Scotland's People, which is the official government website. You will need an account, which does not cost anything. Once you enter the main website, you can search for records by person, but to see the original, you will have to purchase credits, and you will need to be reasonably certain of the area where your relative was, because there can be several people with the same names, and until you get the original document, you will not know for certain you have the right person. However, once you do get the original document, Scottish records are excellent because they are so informative, even including mothers' maiden names, addresses, and occupations. If your heritage is more international, it is possible to use any of the websites mentioned here: Ancestry, Find My Past, or Family Search, as they include collections on immigration as well as records by country. For a more in-depth introduction to finding ancestors who are part of the Windrush generation, there is a beginner's workshop to tracing your Windrush ancestors being held here in the archives on Wednesday, the 22nd of June, led by genealogist Paul Wilkins. For more information, please see the Herbert Museum website under the What's On tab. Newspapers can be another fantastic source of information beyond just birth, marriage, and death announcements. It is always worth using an ancestor's name in a search because sometimes you can find that they have been involved in court cases, have unusual hobbies, or events which you could not imagine or make up, such as the unfortunate death of Grace Ackroyd, my 3 times great-grandmother. The Free BMD website is a site which allows you to search by name for births, marriages, and deaths within England and Wales. This can be very useful if you do not know specific dates, because you can leave the date box blank and it will search everything. Alternatively, you can narrow the search by date and by location. If you find an entry for the person you are searching for, you will see next to their name 2 sets of numbers. These are a volume number and page number. You will need these if you want to request copies of the original certificates. If you do wish to have copies of the certificates, you will need to contact the General Register Office, who hold these items. You can have either a paper copy or a PDF version emailed to you. PDF versions are only available for records from 1837 up to 1921. There is a charge for these services. Local history groups tend to be enthusiasts, and they can be semi-professional, where they have curated an archive of local documents and they can research on your behalf. And they can also be groups of local people who are passionate about an area and enjoy sharing memories and photographs. Both are useful and approachable. They can be online and in person. Finally, archives. In addition to access to online resources such as the family history websites and newspaper archives, we hold a lot more resources, and there are friendly staff on hand to give you assistance in your research. The other types of research resources we hold include, but are not limited to, electoral registers, maps, photographs, and parish registers. It can be easier to trace family members between the 1800s to present day because there are more records preserved and collection of information become more standardized. But using a combination of the resources outlined here, it can be possible to investigate further back. A lot of family history resources are predominantly online, which includes ordering copies of certificates and official documents. But if you prefer talking via telephone or writing, I have included the other contact details for the General Register Office and General Register Office Ireland here. To finish, I will leave you with another selection of family photographs, including one of my own childhood, which is from the early 1990s. I have included this variety of photographs to show that all family photographs are important in your family history. I hope this has been interesting and informative. Thank you for listening.